So I mentioned a little bit ago OPS. Now I remember like when they first started throwing OPS out there, I was like, "What on earth is that?" And it's as
Yeah.
simple as on base plus slugging, on base percentage plus your slugging percentage. And now I think those are both I on base not so much. Right? On base percentage is pretty easy because that's all of your plate appearances. Okay? It's all the times you got on base, whether like I said, it's you reach on an error or you walk or get hit by a pitch, however you reach
Right.
base over your total plate appearances, the number of times you went up to the plate. And I actually really like that stat because I feel like it does tell a story because
Hmm.
there was one year, and I might be biased because of this, but there was one year in baseball I had a rough season. I had a little bit of the yips after taking a fastball to the head, so I was terrified stepping in the box. I had like
Yeah.
a 100 batting average, but my on base percentage was like 700 because
Wow.
I walked a lot.
Jeez.
I hit the ball hard at guys who committed errors. Got on with fielder's choice here and there, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I wasn't hitting it where they weren't, but I was getting on base and scoring. So it was like so that's like the one reason that I feel like on base percentage is still a pretty good stat. But if you
It
add that with
is.
slugging and get your OPS, and slugging it's kind of a
Slugging is
complicated
it's
one.
yeah, but it's to simplify slugging, it's a weighted statistic. So it takes
It is.
the it takes the player's productivity
Mm-hmm.
weighted by how many bases they earned or can uh, obtain, I guess, at one in
Right.
one at bat. So
And the way that it's
one
calculated is
for
it's
one
total
base,
bases.
it's total
Yeah.
bases, and that's why
So
it's
a double is
important.
2, a triple is 3, a home run is 4. You add up all
That's right.
add up their total bases, divide that by at bats. So the
Yep.
equation's pretty simple, but getting to it is pretty complicated. But you're right; it does tell a story of productivity because if a guy has a high slugging percentage and a middle of the road batting average, it means that when he hits the ball, he's getting a double or a home run most likely.
Yeah. Like Miguel Andujar is a good example. A couple seasons ago, we called him Miggy Two Bags because when he get
There
up
you
the
go.
plate, dude hit for double almost every time.
Hmm. I mean, the
That
one
that would
guy I
be
think of
considered
who,
slugging.
yeah, the one guy who really comes to my mind with slugging is actually Edgar Martinez
Right, exactly. Hall of Fame because
because
of
he
his
was a
slugging.
he was a doubles machine. So in
Doubles and
fact,
home
let's see,
runs.
a lifetime slugging of 515,
Yep.
and let's put that into perspective with today. Even with launch angle and everything, let's see where are we at here. Juan Soto is leading the league at 684, which is unreal.
Yeah, that's unreal.
But
684
yeah,
slugging is
that doesn't really translate. But anyways,
incredible.
but no, having that high of a slugging percentage over a career, like that's the first guy I think of when I think of slugging. It was Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
so
a
then
good
you just take
example.
those two numbers, you add them together for OPS, and you can get kind of
Yep.
a wonky number because we're used to batting average being out of 1,000, on base
Yeah,
percentage being out of a
exactly.
thousand, and so you can get an OPS above 1. Like Juan Soto right now
Right.
is leading MLB with a 1.160 OPS,
Yep.
and it's pretty darn good. I mean, I think it's it's between him and Fernando Tatis, I think for the
Mhm.
the MVP,
Yeah, yeah.
and Mookie Betts for that matter. But I think just because of the highlights, you probably ended up gonna be Tatis. So
Yeah. Yes.
we can
So
get into that later.
so OPS is a little bit controversial
Mm-hmm.
um, because it gives your on base percentage and your slugging percentage equal weight. And that's the only
Mm-hmm.
like that's the main criticism I get if you could I mean that's the best way to put it, but If you were going to criticize OPS, it would be that you give offensive production in terms of extra base hits and things like that, home runs, etc., the same weight that you give just getting on base under any circumstances, even if it's getting hit by a pitch.
Right.
And so that doesn't mean it's a bad statistic. You just have to understand where its limitations are, and that's pretty much the biggest criticism.
Right. And I do feel like, and I've always said, I feel like there is something to be said with just getting on base. Just getting on base.
Absolutely.
If you happen to be getting extra bases off of that, and so I that's why I like OPS, because it shows that you're not just a guy who gets on base, but you're a guy who's productive when he gets on base. That if there's somebody standing on first base, there's a good chance. I mean, if you got a high slugging percentage, there's a good chance you could be hitting it into the alley or over the fence, and that guy's scoring. You know,
I agree.
So that's why I really like OPS, because it does give a complete picture of what the guy is doing. So
what the guy is capable of producing when he gets in an offensive scenario. Yeah, no, I agree.
Exactly right.
It's pretty cool.